Hi there folks, and welcome along to another row along workout. Now I am going to row for round about 21-22 minutes to cover 5,000 meters on my machine today, and I'm asking you to row along with me. Now chances are you will either be less or more than my 5,000 meters. Well done if you bullseye at the same time as me. But I'm going to keep on rowing for another kind of like 4 or 5 minutes in case you're a little bit short, to give you time to catch up, or maybe you've done lots more than 5,000 meters, in which case, well done. So that's what the plan for today's workout is. I'll explain a little bit more about why we're doing all this kind of stuff during the workout. There's no point in me talking about it now. So let's get our machine set up, and I want you to go to drag factor or resistance, whatever you have on your machine, and set that to a point where you feel like you've got a nice feeling to the stroke. You're connected, but you don't have to tug and heave against it. At the same time, it's not so light that you're just flapping through the air. Next up, go to your foot stretcher height and set them to a point where you're able to come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. Too high, it's a bit tough to get there. Too low, it's a bit easy to get there, and you can overcompress, your backside escapes from underneath you, you lose power. So when it comes to sitting on the seat, I'd rather you sat more towards the front of the seat and more towards the front part of your backside, okay? Rather than the back of the seat with the back part of your backside. And then finally the handle, let's hold that at shoulder width rather than narrow. So nice shoulder width rather than right in the middle, with our fingers hooked over the handle rather than choking the life out of it, all right? So this is a very low intensity row. Just start nice and easy. You can build up your pace if you wish, but we're gonna get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, just a quick mention that in the background you can see this is the ErgZone app that's playing today, and I've left it on the kind of the big grid view so you can see force curve. This is a great way to analyze your stroke, see whether you've got good flow to the power going into it. I need to make a proper video about force curve. I will do that eventually. But for the first couple of minutes of this row, just think about moving your back, okay? Don't worry about power, get your body moving. So you tilt forwards over your hips, okay, as you come into the front of the machine, and then you swing back at the back of the machine. And it's not huge angles, we're talking 1 o'clock forwards, 11 o'clock backwards. So it's not massive. So if you could think about that hip rock, and then think about arms straight as you push your feet into the machine, then everything else kind of takes care of itself. And basically you just think, don't pull from the front. Pull at the back. This is why some fella has a mantra, push, don't pull. And it is why row along used to be called push, don't pull, until that fella asked me not to call it that. I told this story last week though, so I'm not going to go into it again. So you can see what I say about nice and gentle, it's all relative, okay? So when I'm talking numbers here, this is all relative, but I am at 2:15 pace at like 19, 20 strokes per minute. Now I would normally row my zone 2 low intensity stuff at 20 strokes a minute, but like 2:05 pace. So I'm starting this workout off at a much reduced effort, and then I will build up as we go through it, because I'm needing to warm up, because it's the first movement of the day. It's not first thing in the morning though. I've been awake since 6:30, but it's, what's the time? 10:30. And this is me finally getting around to do this, because if you've been following this scintillating journey into my life, you may remember that about 2 weeks ago, the washing machine broke. Oh, excuse me, hit your nose again. Yeah, it's like watching a primetime drama, isn't it? Then, dun dun dun, the washing machine. Yeah, so came in one day and you could have floated I could have floated a proper rowing boat in the kitchen because there was water all over the floor. The washing machine had wet itself. Poor thing. It is quite old. Anyway, and so it's taken like 10 days, I think, if not more, for the repair guy to turn up. But I got a message saying your engineer will arrive between 7:15 and 10:15. Like 7:15? Kind of felt bad for the guy just thinking ahead, just because how many times will he turn up to somebody's house at 7:15 only to kind of arrive to a dark, curtains closed, no lights on, everyone's still in bed situation, or worse, when he does eventually wake someone up, he just gets abuse. What are you doing waking me up at this time in the morning? I was in my kit. You've got no right waking me up. That's my angry Scottish person voice. Which leads me to the next story. He fixed the washing machine, it's all good, always good. Don't worry. Got lots of stories today, so hopefully you are getting nice and warm and you are thinking about your technique, because I'm not going to do a big long technique chat today, so I'll quickly race through it before I continue with the next story. Okay, so try and keep up. As the handle pulls into your chest, this is when you reset your stroke. So let the handle come away. Use your body's natural springiness of your muscle tension and the fact that your machine will most likely want to pull the handle back to get your hands away. Do not hold the handle against your chest. That's just robbing you of time and power, really, energy. So handle comes away, then sit up on your seat, back up to that front portion of your backside rather than the back portion of your backside, and then tilt forwards. And you should feel, if you've got a good posture, your sit bones connect to the seat and you tilt forwards over them. So you should end up with arms straight and a forwards tilt before you bend your knees. You'll see I have a soft rise to my knees, but it's not a full bend until my head is about to reach my knees. Arms away, tilt, knees. Okay? That's really important. All parts of that. Arms straight, posture resets, hips tilt forwards. I'd say take a look at your hips, it's quite hard. But really think about sitting up and tilting. Then, when you bend your knees, you just roll to the front of the machine. You shouldn't need to change your arm height or your back angle by the time you start bending your knees. Roll until shins are vertical. And a good way to gauge that is often the moment your heels start to lift off the foot plate. If you've got good ankle flexibility, that's likely the shin's vertical point. But everybody's different, and I'm not saying you shouldn't lift your heels. I made a video last week talking about heel lift, whether you're allowed to. Take a look at the shorts tab on my channel to have a quick watch of that, because I'm trying to get through this quick. Might talk about it tomorrow. So, shins vertical, then keeping arms straight and that forwards tilt. Push the machine away with your feet. You can see that as I concentrated on now pushing the machine away, my pace jumped from 212 to 206, because I'm now powering into the machine rather than just tickling it before. I'm still at the same stroke rate, but because I'm now pushing the machine away with my feet, with forwards tilt and arms straight, I am now hanging off the handle and powering into the machine. So if ever you wonder about how to row faster, that's what it's about, folks. Pushing the machine away with more force. It's not about pulling. It's not only about stroke rate to go faster. It's about the power you put in. Then, when your leg drive is about halfway done, you finally swing from that forwards tilt to the backwards tilt, and then as you start that swing, that's when you finally pull the handle in to sternum height and try and keep your wrists flat and squeeze your shoulder blades together to create that muscle elasticity that then wants to rebound the handle away to start the next stroke. All right, so I think I lied, didn't I? That was a good 4 or 5 minute full technique chat. Anyway, so if you were taking part in the Exer grip row yesterday, you'll have heard this story already, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I went to the cinema on Saturday with my 2 daughters. Julie was away in London with her friends, so we were like, what shall we do? And Interstellar, or Interstellar, depending on how you want to say it, was playing at the IMAX in Glasgow. Now this is a proper bespoke building and screen, proper like huge IMAX curved screen, not like a, you know how some cinemas say watch it in IMAX and it's not really a big screen. Anyway, so they both love the film, as do I, and watching it in IMAX is just incredible. It's not 3D, it's just the size of the screen, but more than that, it's the sound. It's just, they have the volume in there turned up to 11. So, in like the more kind of intense, actiony moments, everything's shaking. I could feel my clothes vibrating from the bass. So it's well worth going to. And with it being like a 15-year-old film-ish, I think, you have to assume that everybody, like 90% of the people there, will be people who love the film and want to see it in that setting. And the other 10% are people that they've brought along with them. I doubt there were that many people who were looking at the cinema listings and went, well, I wonder what this film Interstellar's about. Let's go and see it. So that sets the scene. So everybody's there because they want to absorb this incredible movie. Apart from the guy sitting next to me. And I knew it was going to be a tough day when, as the title comes up, Interstellar, he gets his phone out and takes a photo of the screen with flash. So in a dark cinema, flash as he takes a photo of the screen. And I'm like, oh, hang on, this isn't going to go well. He then proceeds through the movie. Every time there's a quiet bit, which there are many, like these really vast space shots, you're existing in the silence of space. A tiny ship flying past Saturn, and you're meant to be like, wow. All I can hear from my right is him telling his daughters what's happening in the movie. Because they're like 7 and 10 or something, and obviously not quite following the plot. So this keeps happening. I'm being terribly British about it and just going, well, I've seen this film before. It's only in the quiet bits. Okay, I won't say anything. Then, in the more kind of action-y moments, he gets his phone out, starts to check his email. So you've got that like flash of light coming up from him having his phone on. I don't like confrontation. So again, I'm figuring I'm likely the only person that's annoying. So I just ignore it. Try not to make a scene. Then there's a certain scene that they use in the poster for the film. That happens. He gets his phone out, holds it up in front of him, switches it to camera mode. So I know what's about to happen. And I just get my arm and go, no. Put my hand over his phone, push it into his chest. And frankly, then rant at him. I think what I said was, no, that's copyright infringement and I can put you into prison for that. I don't know if I could. But I could certainly report him. And then I go on to say, and while I'm at it, stop playing with your phone during the movie, checking your emails, and stop talking to your children. This is not how you act in polite society. He just goes, okay, kind of harumps at me, then sits back. And credit where credit's due, he neither played with his phone or spoke to his kids for the rest of the movie. So I should have said something earlier. Not all heroes wear capes. But nobody, I mean, when I told Julie, she was like, did you get a round of applause? No. It was loud enough for people around me to kind of rubberneck and kind of try and work out what was happening. But I think possibly they'll have heard him talking anyway, so they'll have been quite happy with me having to go at him. But this is the second time I've seen Interstellar at the IMAX. Went to see it last July as well. And last time I went to see it, I had to shout at somebody or whisper sternly to somebody to stop talking. I think I just turned to that guy and went, "Shut up." Good to know that I must have an authoritative enough voice that people listen. Anyway, and then what's my other story? Oh yeah, so again, if you've been following this series since December, you will be aware that I picked up a weird foot heel injury after Hyrox in London, meaning I haven't been able to run since December the 5th. I think it was the 5th, maybe the 8th, doesn't matter. And so I went to see the orthopedic specialist, who said it's all to do with real severe pronation where my feet roll in, and that's pulling on tendons and nerves on the underside of my foot. And the solution was custom insoles to the tune of £400. Oh, that's probably about $500, maybe slightly over $500. Well, they finally arrived on Friday, and I'd tried running in the meantime, but couldn't. I'd basically go 2-3 steps and I'd be in agony. So I got them on Friday. Vary, the one that was dealing with me, was like, wear them for half a day, today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then maybe try running on Monday. So what did I do? Went to the gym, went for a run, because I'm a big dumb male. Yeah, but the good news is that it went well. I was only doing 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off, but I managed to run for like 15 minutes that way. That's me hit 5K, so I'm going to ease off the intensity, but I'm going to hold the rate in case you are still rowing along with me. Yeah, so I was able to run. Still a little bit of weirdness, but not pain. I think it's just my leg getting used to still kind of like the remaining soreness of the tendons, while also being kind of ran on. So that was good. And then I went, that was Friday. And then last night, Sunday, I went for another run. And I was doing, what was I doing? I started off 30 seconds on, 20 off, then a minute on, 30 off, then 2 minutes on, 30 off. And that all went well. So I'm really hoping that this means I can start running again. I'm gonna have to continue to build it up. So like I said, I just did 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off. So the next run will be, I'll start at 1 on, 30 off, then 2 on, 30 off, and then I'll do like 3 on, 30 off. And the next time round I'll do 2, 3, 4. Just do like repeated sets of them. Because it's not just about protecting my foot, it's also about the fact that I haven't run the length of myself since December. And what I don't want to do is get all overexcited, go for a 10K run, because I can run again. But in the meantime, because my legs aren't ready for running in terms of the shock, I would then, after doing a 10k run, spend the next 3 days with DOMS, you know, when you get delay onset muscle soreness after the first time you've exercised for a while. So I don't want that, so I need to build it up carefully, but I've only got 6 weeks until Glasgow High Rocks, so I need to be able to get up to a point where I'm able to run those kind of 5-minute kilometers. One thing I know for sure is that I've entered mixed doubles with Julie for the Saturday, and then on the Sunday I've entered pro. Did this like in November last year when I thought I was fighting fit, but having taken all this time off, I know it's a mistake to do pro, so I'm going to have to cancel that, which is a real shame because I wanted to make sure to do pro in my hometown, so that, because they do pro on a Sunday night, like the last race, so I wouldn't finish until about 9:30. And that's okay when you're coming home to your own bed, but when you do that and then you have to return to a hotel or whatever, it's not right. It's hard to sleep. So anyway, hopefully, so fingers crossed, I can run again. And I was at the gym last night and I added in some walking lunges and wall balls and stuff just to start to get used to them again. Because I haven't really been doing any high rocks training since December. Certainly no sled pushes, no burpees. And the burpees are the ones that I suck at most, to be honest. So I've got 6 weeks to start to work all that stuff back into my training. So that's what the training I'm going to do the rest of the day is going to be based around. I'm not going to run, because I did run last night, and I want to, like I say, want to protect any fatigue and soreness. So I'll take today to recover, and then tomorrow I'll be filming at Castles, making my row workouts, but possibly in the evening I'll then do like some interval running, just to get, I need to make sure that like every 2 days I'm doing some kind of running if I'm gonna try and get up to pace. So there we go. Other stuff happened this weekend. Obviously, there's 2 days, but they will have to wait for another story day. Hopefully, I've managed to keep you company through today's workout. Hopefully you're vaguely interested. Hopefully you paid attention to the technique section. Whew. Right, so that's me done. Up at exactly 6,000. Yeah, hopefully, what's that, 26 minutes? Hopefully most of you are finished. If you're continuing to row, continue to row. I mean, if this takes you half an hour to get to 5K, that's perfectly fine as long as you're getting the right workout. But remember, do think about that push of the machine away from you. Holding the forwards tilt and the arms straight. Right, I'm mid-rant, but I kind of talked about this next bit for quite a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some stretches to do while I'm taking you through what I'm about to talk about, right? And then there'll be an edit going back again. So if you're stopped and you want to stretch, then loosen off your straps, put your feet in, then flick your toes up against them, okay? Legs straight, hands in the air, fold your body down towards your legs, okay? And this is going to stretch your hamstrings. Just use gravity of your upper body coming down to your hamstrings to stretch them, okay? So that's the first thing you do is hamstrings. Then do your glutes, which I put one leg up on the rail, bring this foot up and over. So it's now my heel is in the kind of the crook of my knee on the kind of the opposite side. Bring my knee across my body so I have a straight line between my face, the knee, and the monitor. Hold that knee in place, which is really important. Sit up, good posture, and then rotate your upper body round. So everything else points straight, but you rotate your upper body round, and that gives you a great stretch down here into your glutes, as long as you're keeping this knee in place. If you open up that knee, you're not gonna get it. Do that on both legs, okay? Then quads. I'll show you one leg again. Stand up, and then bring one leg up in front of you, so your knee's in front of you, and then hold onto your ankle and pull your foot back so that your heel is touching your backside, okay? And that'll get stretched into your quads. which is very useful. Do that on both legs. And then somebody asked about hip flexors, so hopefully this isn't going to be a problem in terms of me coming off screen, because I know I've chopped it quite close. But for hip flexors, put one knee on the ground, put the other foot in front of that leg, so you've got 90-degree angles in both. Okay, so you can see it's like 90-degree angle. And then, again, reset, make sure you've got good posture here, and your upper body is kind of up. And then send your body forwards. Okay, so you'll see I'm not rolling my lower back, I'm sending my body forwards. And what that is doing is it's closing the angle of the front leg, it's opening the angle of the back leg, and it's giving you a great stretch here to the hip flexors. If you want, you can put one arm in the opposite arm in the air, or both arms in the air if you wish, and have a slight lean back, and that might help with the hip flexor to be able to stretch it that little bit more. Do that both legs. Then for forearms, put your hands together in front of you, push them together, bring them down in front of your body so that your thumbs are around about sternum height, okay? And you should get a really nice stretch into your forearms and your wrists when you're doing this. Make sure and keep on pushing those hands together. All of these stretches, I want you to hold them for at least 30 seconds, okay? And trust me, I'm about to talk about drag factor for long enough for you to be able to do that. And then for shoulders, put your hands straight out in front of you like a rock star. Hey, and bring it across your body. So I can't get it all the way across my body, so I use my other arm to help it. Loop it around the elbow, and I can now help pull this arm straight across my body. Hold that there for 30 seconds or so, do the other arm, and that's you all done. Okay, so that's the stretching. If you want to go through them while I kind of take you through an answer that people often talk about drag factor, where's the best drag factor to set it, and I'm about to take you through my take on that isn't just about numbers, all right? Here we go. People often talk about what's the right drag factor setting for me. So if I go down to lever down to the bottom. For me, that's a drag factor. I think it's right about 90. I don't think it'll update here because ErgZone's come to the end of its thing. But if I now push from the front, I find it's quite light, and it's almost like I can't quite hang off the handle as well. I don't feel I'm bracing against it. It's a little too loose feeling. Obviously, the harder I push with my feet, the more force I'm going in, so I can brace against it a little bit. But because I don't feel connected, it's almost like my back opens up too soon, because it just does, because I'm not connected onto the handle properly. So that's why when I have like a drag factor between, I'd say, probably between 120 and 160 is the range where I feel when I push, I can brace against it, and I can hold that position, like pushing my legs into the machine, and then kind of finish the stroke. And I get a nice, I'm just like hanging off the handle, and what's happening is the power's going into the fan, which is then turning and fighting all of that air. But because it's turning, it's then kind of giving way, and then that's how I'm able to get to the back of the machine with the arm straight. But if I go up to a lever 10, which on my machine is around about 220 drag factor, right? Now when I'm rowing, let me get it moving, it starts to become harder to stay in this position as I push my feet into the machine, bracing off the handle. It's like I now do need to start to pull early in order to get the flywheel moving, because I just can't, I don't have the bracing power through my core and stuff to be able to hang with the power. If I go lightly, I can. Okay, so if I don't put much of a leg press into it, it's perfectly fine. I can hold that position, but the moment I want to power into it, if I tell you what, if I go, because you could really do seeing, I know this is going on, but I might as well, if I'll just go for same thing again, send to, connect, send workout to monitor, there we go. And then let's flick onto here. So, because you could do is with seeing what kind of pace I'm rowing at when I'm going through this. So, if I go lightly, not much of a push from my legs, then it's okay, Up at this drag factor, in fact, I think I can change peak force, drag factor, there we go, right down at the bottom. Okay, so yeah, like I said, 227. So drag factor 227. If I push lightly with my legs, then I'm okay. I can hang off the handle and row, and I'm kind of 225. But if I really try and push here, I'm now starting to need to either swing my back early, or I'm bending my elbows a little bit, grabbing against the stroke because it's too heavy for me. And so if I go down, I'll do the same thing at the bottom, just so you can see the numbers. So drag factor 84 at the bottom, but I'm completely disconnected to the stroke because it's too light for me, and I can push harder to get the power in. But again, you'll see that I was grabbing early on the handle because I just wasn't able to connect to it properly. But if I take it up to, what's that, lever 5 on my clean machine, gives me a drag factor of 126. Okay, so now I can push the power into the machine while holding that forwards tilt and arms straight. I don't have to heave against it, but I feel I'm properly connected to it. So when someone asks the question, what's the right lever setting, which I hate as a question, to row at, then it's the one where you're able to stay in that forwards tilt and arms straight while pushing power into the machine. Okay, so that's it. All right, bad cut there, but we're back. I've just literally just done the pickup for the stretching thing. So that was all the info about drag factor. So it's not just about numbers, it's really about your feel. As you get better as a rower, as you get stronger, you might find you're then able to increase the drag factor. Let's say you are someone who has to be down at 80, okay? As you get stronger and your technique gets better, and trust me, technique's more important than strength here, you will be able to raise that lever up to a slightly higher drag factor. The recommendation, so Myro, who I make workouts for, they recommend people row with a drag factor of 115. If you do a search on the internet, you'll find that most people will say 130. So that's kind of the range. The thing is, the higher you get, usually, well, once you get past about 160, that starts to be when technique breaks down, and the only way you can row fast is because you're pulling early. Because if you try and pull early with a low drag factor, you don't go anywhere, all right? So that's the drag factor chat. And that's we done with today's workout. Sorry, it's gone on a bit, this one, but I told you I had lots to say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you managed to get up to your 5K. Possibly that was what you're aiming for. Maybe you stopped when I did, maybe you didn't. But these 20-odd minute workouts are so good for you, all right? And even if it's like someone got in touch, was it Thomas? Oh, I can't remember his first name. I think it was Thomas. Got in touch and said, he's like, these are perfect for me. I've got 2 young kids. All I need is something that I can do for 20 minutes. And I kind of replied saying, well, this is exactly why I'm making these, is that these are workouts that you can just find and do. There's no series you have to follow. It's not like, there's no performance side to this. I'm not asking you to row at 2K plus 18 and stuff. I'm just saying sit down and row at whatever pace that you want to row at. Just because I'm doing 5K doesn't mean you have to do 5K. So yeah, so that's what they're here for. So I was really pleased when he got in touch and said that they work for him, because that's exactly the kind of person these are for, all right? So I will see you in the next workout. Yeah, so I will be rowing, obviously because it's 5K every day. So I'll do my 5K and then I'll go off to Castles tomorrow and film some workouts. That'll be a fun day. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Please leave me a comment below. If you haven't already done the whole like and subscribe thing, I should really say this at the beginning, then please do, because it's a way for YouTube to know that people like this channel, and therefore it'll put more of my workouts in front of people, and hopefully I'll get in front of more people, all right? It's as simple as that. That's how YouTube works. So yeah, have a great day. Make sure and shower, have something to eat, something to drink, tell someone you love them, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, row well, be well, bye-bye.